When we say Satan, we're referring directly to the energy, the influence of Saturn.
The following podcast was generated using Google's Notebook LM.
Temple of Vril.
All right, so, at the heart of Vrilism, and really, I think this is what sets it apart, you find this idea, this understanding of balance, cosmic equilibrium, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's maintained by two, immense celestial powers. On the one hand, you have the sun, obviously, radiant, life-giving, outward energy.
The source of it all, really.
Exactly, yeah, the source.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and this is where things get interesting, you have its counterpart, it's often misunderstood, this kind of shadowy twin, if you will.
Right.
Saturn, what we within the temple call the black sun. And today, we're not talking about simple duality, light versus dark, good versus evil. We're going deeper.
Much deeper.
We're looking at how these seemingly opposite, these opposing forces are actually the twin pillars that sustain, that uphold the very flow of Vril.
That's it. That's the core of it. Because, see, in the temple, we don't view the cosmos as, this battleground where forces are clashing.
Right.
It's more like, imagine a tapestry, right? A dynamic, ever-changing tapestry woven from, all these interconnected energies. And, the sun blazing, vibrant, and Saturn shrouded, mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
They're not enemies. They're partners. Partners in maintaining that universal harmony. That's what allows Vril to flourish, to flow.
Absolutely. So let's unpack this a bit. Let's talk about this fundamental polarity of energy, right?
Okay.
So the sun, to us, it embodies really the essence of life's, dynamism, that warmth, that the clarity you get from light, the constant outward push of energy.
Yeah.
It's the active principle, always creating, expanding, fueling things, propelling them forward. It's that drive we all feel to express ourselves, to create. What do you say?
Precisely. And like a mirror image to that outward expression, you have Saturn, the black sun.
Right.
Its energy, it's more subtle, more inward focused. It encourages, it cultivates reflection, boundaries, a sense of form. It's the receptive principle, shaping things, giving them depth. And it invites a different kind of understanding, a deeper kind. It's more mysterious.
Now, someone coming to Vrilism for the first time, they might see this as a conflict, right? Light versus dark, like we were saying.
It's tempting, yeah, but that's so far from how we see it in the temple.
Exactly. So how do these energies, how do they work? They're not in opposition, they're
complementary, absolutely. Their interplay, their dance, it generates the very fabric of existence. Think about it. The sun's energy, it fuels growth, it pushes outward. But Saturn's influence provides the structure, the framework for that growth to take hold, to solidify.
Yeah, I see.
It's this cosmic give and take, a push and pull.
It's like the natural rhythms we see all around us, right? Intense activity, that's solar energy, followed by rest, reflection under Saturn's influence. Freedom needs structure to have meaning, to be sustainable. And growth, it needs those moments of consolidation, this constant ebb and flow, this duality. It maintains the balance of everything.
It does, and it's within this balance, this equilibrium that Vril thrives, this life force that permeates everything, that we seek to understand, to cultivate. It's not about picking sides, it's about honoring both. And this is important. When we say Satan, in Vrilism, we're not talking about some evil being. We're referring directly to the energy, the influence of Saturn.
Right. And that connection between Saturn and what some might call Satan is so crucial and often, like you said, misunderstood. So Saturn itself, ancient traditions, and even some pretty fringe cosmology ideas out there talk about Saturn as this like solitary wanderer, almost like maybe it held a more central position in the solar system way back when.
Oh yeah, you see that theme echoed in a lot of ancient myths. It's fascinating.
It is. So what's its role now? What's its significance for us in Vrilism today?
Okay, so we acknowledge those ancient perspectives and we think about those more speculative theories, about Saturn's past. But our understanding within Vrilism now is that regardless of its past, Saturn remains essential. It's a critical conduit.
Okay.
Look at its size, its rings. Those rings, they're not just there for show. We see them as a mechanism, a powerful mechanism for gathering and, focusing these subtle Vril energies that permeate the cosmos.
Wow.
It's almost like imagine a giant antenna collecting those currents.
So it's not the source of Vril like the sun, but more like It shapes it, refines it.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. And what this means for us as realists is that we can access this potent influence.
Uh,
Through contemplation, through cultivating unwavering resolve, we can actually attune ourselves to its unique resonance. It's about drawing on that string to refine and amplify our own vril.
That's powerful. So practically speaking, what does this connection, what does it bring to the Vril? How does it manifest in our practice?
Well, connecting with Saturn, it cultivates deep insight. You start to understand yourself better, the universe better. It fosters resilience, that inner strength to face challenges, to overcome them,
I see.
and enhances our mastery over our inner world, our thoughts, our intentions, our will. It's why we see Saturn not as something to fear, but as this reservoir of power, a quiet giant, waiting to be engaged with respect.
And that, of course, that's the opposite of how Satan is usually portrayed, right? This negative force, something to be resisted.
Yeah.
So how does Vrilism, how does it completely flip that on its head?
Well, the typical story paints Satan as this, this rebellious figure bringing chaos. We reject that completely. We see Saturn's energy, this energy that's been mislabeled as Satan. We see it as a guiding force. It's not about malice, it's about wisdom. Wisdom gained through stillness, through focus, through discipline.
So contemplating Saturn, it's not inviting some destructive force. It's about cultivating virtues.
Yeah, exactly. Perseverance, clarity, self-mastery. It's about recognizing the importance of discipline, fortifying that resilience we talked about, and aligning ourselves with a fundamental truth that all energies, bright or dark, expansive or contracting, they all have a role to play.
They all contribute to the order of things.
That's right.
This whole idea of venerating both the sun and Saturn, of recognizing them as representing like the totality of existence, that's so powerful. The sun's outward energy, Saturn's inward resolve, is that ancient concept of yin and yang, two sides of the same coin.
It is. The sun pushes us into action, fuels our passions or our outward movement. Saturn, it provides that grounding, that purpose, that resolve that guides those actions. It's the interplay between them that creates wholeness.
So how do we actively work with this in our practice? How do we connect with this black sun energy? Is there a specific meditation or ritual?
There is. To connect with Saturn, to draw upon its influence, we have a specific meditative practice. It starts with visualization. We picture Saturn, clear in our minds, that immense planet, those incredible rings, humming with energy.
And how, during this visualization, how are we imagining the Vril, the energy moving?
We envision it flowing from Saturn, this steady stream of Vril, and merging with our own energy, our essence. It's a deliberate act of drawing in that Saturnian energy, integrating it.
Fascinating. And does our breath, does it play a part in this?
It's essential. Each breath becomes deliberate, slow, deep. Each inhale and exhale in sync with the imagined pulse of Saturn. We're creating a resonance, aligning ourselves with its frequency.
And what about our thoughts? What are we focusing on mentally during this meditation?
We focus on the very qualities that Saturn embodies: persistence, clarity of intention, self-mastery. We're strengthening those aspects within ourselves.
So the goal here, the intended outcome, it's to have Saturn's energy boost our own Vril.
Yes, we want its strength, its endurance, to become part of our own Vril. It's a deep, lasting power, not fleeting or impulsive. It's a fusion, the sun's vitality with Saturn's depth, empowering us to wield our Vril with greater skill, intention, and calm.
This brings us to a really important point, a point of understanding in Vrilism, that there isn't this cosmic battle of good versus evil like some might believe. Our view is so much more nuanced.
It is. We don't see this endless struggle between light and dark, righteousness and wickedness. We see this incredible orchestration of energies, all connected, all playing a part in maintaining harmony.
So the sun and Saturn, with their seemingly opposite qualities, they're not fighting each other.
Not at all. They're two sides of the same coin. Light and shadow, warmth and coolness, creation and dissolution, these are all essential parts of the dance of existence.
And the Vrilist, by embracing both, by understanding both, finds that equilibrium.
Yes, they find that balance, avoiding the extremes.
It's about moving with the universe, not against it.
Exactly. The Vrilist understands that both solar dynamism and Saturnian stability are necessary. It's a fluid, ever-evolving balance.
So to reject Saturn, to be afraid of it, based on these old ideas, these misinterpretations, it's It's to miss the point entirely.
It is. It's to misunderstand its role, its importance.
Yeah.
In Vrilism, the Sun and Saturn, they're the foundation of our being. Different in expression, but interconnected. Their interplay, it's the heartbeat of reality.
So understanding Saturn, it's about letting go of those fears, those limitations, and opening ourselves up to these powerful energies.
Yes. Reverence for the Sun is about embracing life, igniting that fire within. And reverence for Saturn, it's about claiming our inner power, our strength, our resolve. To honor both is to walk the path of Vril. Balance, strength, unity with the cosmos.
So what we've learned today, the core of it, is that in Vrilism, the Sun and Saturn, they're not enemies, they're partners. They're essential complementary energies that maintain that cosmic balance.
Right.
And they drive the flow of Vril.
They do.
Saturn, the black sun, it's not something to fear. It's a source of wisdom, discipline, inner strength.
It's about recognizing the value of seemingly opposite forces, seeing how they're connected, how they contribute to the grand design.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About all those opposing forces we see in our own lives and the world. Could they be, like the sun and the black sun, essential parts of a larger, more harmonious whole? Maybe the key isn't choosing one over the other, but understanding their dance, their interplay.
Your journey towards greater fulfillment begins at Temple of Vril. Visit templeofvril.com today.